Today I'm going to be training indoors. It's just been absolutely hosing it down, so got a space in the shed here so I can get some work done. So today's warm-up is your choice, 5 to 10 minutes. I've actually been doing some skipping and I'm trying to learn how to do double unders. And so my objective before each session is to do 100 double unders. May not seem like a lot to some of the double under veterans out there, but yeah, I've never really done double unders before, so that warm-up took me about 7 minutes to get through 100 today, so slowly learning some new skills. Anyway, so we're going to move on to 60 seconds of an exercise and 15 seconds of rest or transition time. We're working through 7 stations today. So our first station is a single leg bench or chair stand. Then we move on to a kneel to stand. Third exercise are burpees. Fourth exercise is wall sit. 5 is staggered push-ups. Exercise 6 is a reverse bridge with leg drops. And then number 7 is our mountain climbers. So 7 stations. Objective is to get through 4 rounds in total. 60 seconds on, 15 seconds off. Get underway. Get your timers set up and we will hit start. So first exercise, need a bench or a chair. I'm fortunate to have a bench in here. First exercise is quite a challenging one. We're using one leg only, and I'll just do a quick demo. So sitting down on the bench here, we're going to have our hands out the front and take one leg off. I'll show you from here. One leg, lean forward, push up, and then sit back down. So it's a nice controlled exercise. We're going to do 30 seconds on the one leg, and then halfway we'll go 30 seconds on the other leg, so we get a good balance of both sides. Okay, so I'm going to get my timer started. You guys should be able to hear this, so we can follow along. Okay. With regards to the bench height, obviously a lower bench is going to be harder to get up and off. So if your chair or your bench is too low, just consider using some clothes or something just to make it a little bit higher. It is better to start a little bit higher, but if you want more of a challenge, go for the lower bench. This one's quite low. Okay, 3, 2, 1, the time begins. So we'll start on one leg. Key thing is to try and keep our balance. We're pushing up through the heel of that foot. So we've got 30 seconds on one side, and then we'll change legs. Really good exercise for our glutes and our hamstrings. Gets everything working really well. Balancing muscles too. Okay, it's halfway, change legs. Remember, if you want to make it a little bit easier, start on a higher bench. Try and push through the heel of this foot. Okay, we get those glutes involved nice and early. Nice work. Oh, so hamstrings, glutes, quads. Next exercise we'll move on to is a kneel to stand. Okay, so we're kneeling down on the floor, hands behind the head, and then we're standing up from there. Go 30 seconds on one side, and then 30 seconds to the other side. Good to practice these single leg exercises, because when you're getting up off the ground, you need a little bit of that mobility and strength in those hamstrings and glutes. They can often get neglected. Change sides. Right leg for me. Try and keep your chest up. It's a really good one for, obviously, if you've put your pack down and you're trying to get up, or if you're carrying a heavy load or push up from the ground. Got to go from a place where you don't have any momentum. Nice job, cool. Okay, next exercise, going on to burpees. Okay, the intermediate guys, straight arm with no push up. If you're on the advanced, got the push up. Just over halfway. Nice job. Brings the heart rate up for us. Next exercise, wall sit. Whew. More leg work. Find a wall and sit against it. Basically, try and keep your chest up. This one here's for the muscular endurance. Good test of endurance on the thighs. Build some mental calluses as well. Bit of a brain game this one. Okay, we're over halfway, it's good news. Stay in the game. Breathing. Chest up, shoulders back. Hips down. And have your knees directly above your ankles. So we've got 90 degrees. 3, 2, 1. Off the wall. Oof. Okay, next exercise, staggered push-ups. So staggered push-ups can be anything but conventional. So hands can be anywhere. Each rep is a bit different. You can push out front, do narrow ones, you can do off to the side, do out to the front. Entirely up to you how you want to do them. Nice out the front ones here. Yeah. Gosh, it's warm in here. No breeze. Good stuff. Keep moving. Different push-ups, different angles, triceps, shoulders, chest. Keep working for your numbers. Right to the bell. Nice work. Woo! Reverse bridge. Leg drops team. Okay, set ourselves up. Here. Hips up high. Lift. Lower. Lift. Lower. Try and keep the hips at the same height throughout the whole exercise. If you can't maintain the leg drops, just hold your legs here, static position. Okay, we're over halfway. Keep going if you can. Exercise hits target glutes, hamstrings, lower back, shoulders, upper back, triceps. Lots of muscle groups. Try and keep the hips up if you can. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Okay, next exercise, guys. It's our mountain climber. Okay, options with this one. Obviously, if you can't maintain the pace, just go static. 2, 1. Flat back. Lots of muscle groups. Got this one on the program quite a bit because it does a lot of muscle groups. Very time efficient. Gets the heart rate back up. Focus on flat back. Engage your core. Straight arms. And try and lock yourself in. Shoulders over the top of the wrists. Okay, we're over halfway. Easy. Keep going. 60 seconds of work. Less than 12 seconds now. Keep it on. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Nice work, team. Sweat is flowing in here. Woo! Okay, so that's our 7 exercises. 1 round down. 3 to go. Okay, so we start back into. Kia ora team, welcome to the start of the week. Got our interval training today. Today I'm based in the shed, and yeah, it's been pretty poor weather outside, so a bit of a shelter from the storm. Got a little bit of space here, which is nice. And for today's workout, we just need a low bench or a chair from inside, whatever you can find. That's totally up to you. And the warm up for today, as per usual, is 5 to 10 minutes of your choice, whether that's a jog around the block or a short session with the pack, or whether that's some mountain climbers or whatever you want to do. That's up to you, whānau. Okay, so today's workout, we're progressing the amount of time that we're working for in each set. So last week we were doing 35 seconds of work to 15 seconds of rest. This week we crank it up, so we're hitting 40 seconds of work to 15 seconds of rest per set. Okay, so we're working through 7 stations today, and our target is 4 rounds. Okay, I've just taken the intermediate and advanced workout, so I've already got a bit of a bead on, but we're going to get through the session here. So exercises we're going to work through is a single leg bench or chair stand. Number 2, we're going to move through as a kneel to stand. 3, we're going to go into some burpees. Number 4, we've got a wall sit. Number 5, we move on to some staggered push-ups. 6 is a reverse leg drop. And then number 7 is our favourite, the mountain climber. Okay, so we'll get our timer sorted out. Remember, 40 seconds on, 15 seconds off, 7 stations, 4 rounds. Let's go. Okay team, we're just going to show you our first exercise, which is a bench or chair stand. So ideally, what we want to be doing is we want to be able to take one leg off the ground, and then we want to be able to stand up using that one leg, and then sitting back down. What we can do instead, because we're doing 40 seconds of exercise per station, we'll do 20 seconds on one leg and 20 seconds on the other. If you can't go straight standing up from one leg, what we will do is put one leg at the front and these other hands on the side of the chair, and we're going to push ourselves up like that and then sit back down. Okay, so you can use your arms to give yourself a little bit of a push. Try and use your legs as much as you can, but that's our exercise there for our first set, okay? So 20 seconds on one side, 20 seconds on the other. Try not to use your hands too much. If your bench or chair is really low, you probably will need to use a bit of push. But yeah, so here we go. Okay, we'll get the timer on. Follow along with me. 3, 2, 1. Time begins. Okay, one leg off. We'll push ourselves up. Okay, when we get to halfway, we'll change the leg. Okay, so the single leg exercises, really beneficial for our hunting. They're more effective than doing all the double leg stuff. Okay, change sides, pushing off the right leg now. Try and control yourself on the way down. If you can, control the speed that you are descending. Try and look after that aspect as well. Really try and push with your leg as much as you can. Try not to use your arms too much. Nice work. First set complete. Next exercise is our kneel to stand. So kneeling down here, then from there, same thing, we're using one leg to stand up. Hands behind the head. Same leg. Try and get through as many as you can. Got 20 seconds on one side, then remember we change legs. Okay, breathing is important. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we change legs. Left leg for me. Balance is important. Keep your chest up nice and high. This is a fantastic exercise. Later on in the program, I'm going to try and add a bit of weight to it, so we'll add the backpack. Next exercise, guys, everybody's favourite, not burpees. Okay, for you guys, going to go straight arm, no push up, straight down, straight up. There, up. If we can get the jump, let's put the jump in there as well. One for good luck. Nice job. Okay, next exercise. Quads, move to the wall. Got a wall sit, or if you're near a tree sit. Hips down low, chest up high, thighs. Quads are our target here. Should have your heel directly below your knee. And everything here should be at 90 degrees. Gonna breathe through this one. The leg burn will arrive here. Stay in the game if you can. Weight in the heels of the feet. 5 seconds. Almost there. Yep. Off the wall. Next exercise is a staggered push-up. So you can put your hands in any position you like, as long as they're not in a conventional push-up position. Okay, you can do these from the knees. If you need to, move to a different position for each push-up. Whether it's further out or closer in, it's up to you. If you need to do them on the knees, that's fine as well. Okay, we're just working different areas of the chest, and the triceps, and the shoulders. If you're doing a lot of climbing underneath trees or through scrub, it's important to have a bit of upper body strength to stabilise yourself. So that's why we're doing these. Nice work. Okay, wow, the sweat is draining. Okay, we're going to a reverse leg drop now. Okay, so from here, hips are up. Do from there, hips down, and hips up. Okay, and up. Targeting the glutes and the hamstrings. Don't need to do them too fast. Take your time. This works the shoulders as well, and the triceps. Lots of muscle groups at once. Okay, we've got 10 seconds to go. Push through the heels, through the butt muscles. Nice and slow. Just there. Okay, final exercise, everybody's favourite, or second favourite, mountain climbers. Woo! Hopefully everyone can stay up for these. Okay, try and get your speed on if you can. If you can't maintain the speed, just hold a static position. Flat back is really important here. So my knees are almost touching the ground, really close to the ground here. Keep going, we've got 10 seconds. Stay in the game. Keep going, make it through. 2, 1. End of the round. Nice work, team. So I've completed 1 round, target is 3 more. So we move back now to the bench for round 2. Kia ora team, down here with my tennis ball at the park. Today's workout is a distance-based workout. So the warm-up for today is once again 5 to 10 minutes. I've just been doing some shuttles up and down the length of the soccer field here. Today's workout, the target is 500 meters. Okay, so half a K of exercise time. So it's not time-based, but we're going for distance, okay? So have something which is nice and visible. Okay team, so we take our tennis ball or something visible. Would it take 20 paces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay team, so we've got our 20 meters set out for us now. First exercise, walking lunges. Second exercise, we jog back to here. Third exercise is a forward bear crawl out to the ball. Then coming back from there we have burpees with a step. And then the final exercise is a bear crawl in reverse. So I'll go through the first round with you. So we accumulate 100 meters together. And then your objective is to continue for another 4 rounds, which will give you that 500 meters of distance achieved. Okay, so our walking lunges are pretty straightforward. Start from our line here. Nice long lunges, nice and straight. Okay, it's our jog back, so we've done 40 meters. Next exercise is our bear crawl. So we're trying to keep the hips down and we're moving on all fours. burpees. Nice one. Okay, so we've got our bear crawls in reverse to finish. Okay, so facing this way, self set up, hips down, pushing back with the shoulders. Cool team, so that's one round. The jog back is not included as part of it. So for the second round, you'll be starting back on your walking lunges. Gets the heart rate up a bit, and yeah, sort of targets those movement patterns that we use when we're on the hill, particularly if we're moving through bush, low down, crawling, through scrub. Gets the upper body working, really hammers the legs, and that's what we want. We want to be trying to do as many functional movements as we can, and then we're sort of getting ready for the hill, the real deal. So yeah, that's our 500, 5 rounds of that. Okay, we're ideally working up to grand in the hand. So 1,000 meters is our objective by the end of the program, which is going to be 10 sets. So 5 sets today, slowly build up. Give it a nudge if you've got someone at home, give it a go with them. All you need is 20 meters and a bright coloured object. Cool guys, so that should be a really thorough workout for you. This Sunday I'm going to be demonstrating how to use the foam roller just to really help loosen up the legs and the hips. So yeah, rip on into it, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll catch you soon. Hey team, well welcome to the mobility and recovery session. We're going to be working through use of the foam roller today, or it's also known as a way of doing myofascial release. That is the actual terminology. So effectively we're using the foam roller to apply pressure into our muscle groups, and that's just help break up the muscles, improve our recovery times, and just also try and enhance a little bit of mobility and flexibility. Then the performance-based stuff is so that if we can recover faster, we can perform again better the next day and the next day. So it's really important, especially if we are hunting over multiple days. We want to be able to get those muscles ready for the next morning, or actually help them to get prepared as best as we can. So when I'm on the hill, I actually take out the tennis ball and I use that for some mobility work as well. Okay, so just to run through quickly, I've got 3 different tools that I can use here. So this one here, this is a 90 centimetre EVA foam roller. You don't need to have them this long. I've just got one, so it stays with us. So that's EVA material. It's that nice sort of spongy material. Okay, this one's got sort of all those small little knobs on it. I personally don't feel that they make a great deal of difference. This roller here is a 45 centimetre. So it is really good, especially if you're travelling as well, if you're going away for work a lot, or if you want to take one into your office or your workplace. They're really good just to stash behind a chair, and you can actually use them during the day just for a bit of a screen time break, or something that, you know, breaks up your day quite well. So once again, that's your EVA material. It is fairly spongy. Some EVA materials are a lot harder, and some foam rollers have the bigger knobs on them, and they are often a bit firmer, so they can be a bit more aggressive on the body or on the muscles. I find this one the best all-round type of foam roller. So it's got a fairly smooth surface, 45 centimetres, and yep, that's probably my go-to there. The other option, which is kind of next level, is you guys will probably recognise this as some downpipe. This can work as well, but yeah, obviously being very hard, very dense, it is going to apply a lot of pressure very quickly to your muscle groups. So when you are using these, you definitely want to have done a little bit of a lighter or a less dense foam roller before. So yeah, that's sort of a last resort. This one gets used from time to time, but we'd only probably use it on areas like the calves. It is a bit full on for places like the IT band. So that's another option if you run out of ideas, but we're going to use our foam roller today, these guys. Alright, so, okay team, so the first movement pattern that we will do is to roll out the calves, and I like to generally start with the longer strokes to start with, and then once we find the areas that are a little bit more tender, we'll start to press in and do a slightly shorter movement pattern there. Okay, so put the foam roller under the leg there. This leg at the back, because we're doing one leg at a time, this leg at the back here, this can dictate how much pressure we're applying with this foot here. Okay, so if I want heaps of pressure, I can actually take that foot off the ground and stack it on top. Or if I don't want much pressure at all, if it's really sore or really tender, I'll use this foot here to try and keep my hips up nice and high and take some pressure off that calf. Okay, so at the moment I'm just working down through that lower calf. What I like to do is grab my timer, just so that I'm doing an even amount of time on each side of the body. I hit the timer there, do 1 minute on the calf on this side, then I'll go 1 minute on the other side. So I'll just get that underway. Okay, so I'm just starting off. Start off nice and long, and then we can get shorter as we go. Breathing's important, try and relax. If you've got some music, you can throw some music on. This session's really about just winding down, taking your time, and getting some mobility and recovery work sorted out for your week ahead. This is also a really good way to recover from a big pack training session, or if you've done a big hunt on the weekend, good to just follow this routine and do a little bit of work at home on the foam roller. Time well spent. I know a lot of us can focus on doing a lot of strength and power, endurance, core work, but doing this stuff here is really important as well. Cool, so there's a minute on that leg and that calf. Flick it across to the other side. I just got that on a 1 minute on and then 10 seconds off. We'll start on the other side. Get ahead of the timer. Same thing again. Okay, try and work through the full range of motion and try and get that top calf as well. Most people will be quite tender through the middle and the lower calf. That's where most of that tension is held. So that lower calf that we stretched last week. So our lower calf is called the soleus. And then as we get into that upper calf, that's our gastrocnemius. What you'll also find is you end up doing a little bit of core work, trying to keep the hips up off the ground and using those shoulders too, triceps. So once you've found a couple of tighter little areas, you can focus on them and just move through a smaller range of motion. Okay, into there. So now we're going to move on to the glutes or the hamstrings. I prefer to target the glutes. So we're not sitting front on, but we're sort of sitting on the side, and then we're slowly moving down the foam roller. Okay, full range of motion, so we get to the top of the buttock, then we move right through, and then we get into a little bit of the hamstring. So the hamstring is under here, sits in underneath your glutes. They often do get tight through the top of the hammies. So where we're working into those glutes there, you can get a little bit more side on, or you can straighten up if you need to. And just take your time and work through the different angles. I find the best way is just to try and do the full range of motion on this set. And then in time we can focus on those other areas for round 2. Nice one. Okay, we move to the other side. I'll just flip this around so you guys can see. Get started ahead of the timer. Just there. Try and get a little bit squarer. So you're working on that medial glute, but then when we come around the other way, when we externally rotate or abduct the hip, we get a little bit more into those glutes on the outsides there. You'll find if you've been doing a lot of pack training or a heavy load out from the hills, that you'll be a bit sore in the top of the hip there. And that's generally because when you're carrying your pack, a lot of that weight from the pack is coming down on top of those glutes. So they're having to actually stabilise a lot of that weight for you. So they'll often be tender through there. Nice one. Okay, so we're going to move on to the hamstrings. The hamstrings are probably the hardest area to foam roll because you don't get the same amount of compression on the hamstrings that you can with other muscle groups, but they are a very important muscle group to stretch and to roll. So yeah, you might not feel like much is going on there, but if we leave them out, they might feel like they're missing out. So we've still got to get that hamstring work involved. Nice through there. So this is a good example of where a higher density foam roll could be more useful when you've got areas which are not as tense immediately. So these hamstrings, you don't get the same level of intensity in that foam rolling session. So get it lined up again on the other side and just get started ahead of that timer. I can actually feel that this side here is a little bit more sore than the other side. That might be from doing things like deeper squats or heavier loaded squats where your hamstrings are having to do a bit more work at the bottom there. We can vary the angle of those hamstrings as well, so we can turn the knee inwards and we can turn the knee outwards slightly, so we can manipulate the angle that those hamstrings are being targeted. Good to do the hammies, but once again you won't feel the same amount of intensity that you would as if you were doing the calves or the quads. So yeah, just be aware of that. Okay, we'll move from there onto our hip flexor. So hip flexor being top of the hip and down and through into the quad here. So we line our side and then we start just above the knee. Take one leg out to the side and then pull through. Nice and long. It's almost like you're doing a front plank, but you're not. Well, you kind of are. You're trying to get nice and long into that stride. I might just change rollers quickly so you can see a little bit better. No particular difference here. Keep going on that hip flexors there. That's us, nice and long. Go for another 10 seconds. So focusing on the top half of that thigh. Nice one. Okay, and move that across. Go to the other side. Just do a side on shot for you guys. So you can see this. Leg out to the side, reach back, pull through. Okay, reach right back, top of the hip and through. Trying to keep the hips pretty square on this one, if you can. We go for a full range of motion. You won't get all the way to the knee, but the focus is to get top of that hip and down at least halfway or 2/3. Really open up and pull through. Top of the hip, pull through. Just got one leg on at a time. I find it best to do one side at a time, and then you can focus on getting the right amount of pressure on there. Nice one. Okay, so done the top of the hip or the top of the thigh there. Now we're going to move into the quads. Now this one can be quite a bruiser. So stack yourself on one leg, and then what we're going to do from here, this back leg here is supporting our body weight. Okay? So we're going to slowly move down the side of the leg and then pull through. Now just a warning, this one can be extremely intense, so make sure you're using this leg to dictate how much pressure you've got coming through that thigh. So we're sort of pivoted sideways and we're targeting the outside of that quad. Okay, if you need to, 2 hands, and then we can angle the front of that quad around. So you're getting more into the front, but still largely on that lateral side. Nice and slowly. Take your time. Nice one. Okay, we change legs. Once again, supporting leg, the leg at the back. This is the leg that's doing the work for our balance. And we start on our side. Just a couple of nice full length strokes to start with. So you can see there. Okay. Nice and lateral at the moment. And then what we can do from there, using this other hand, we'll just rotate the hips around. So I'm now a little bit more frontal on that quad. Getting a bit more of the front of the quad. Take your time. If you find any tight areas, don't be surprised, because there is some pretty painful stuff in there. Most people have a bit of a tight IT band, or it's pretty common anyway. Okay. Okay, so next exercise or movement we're going to do is for the lower back. Now with the lower back, we just put it into that lumbar or that middle back area, and then from there, just going to lift the hips up and roll ourselves down the roll. And then just using our hips to support our body weight, we're just going to roll through the upper back there. So our hips are nice and high, and I can feel that that's really getting in between my scapular blades. And I'm just rolling it to the start of my neck there. And nice and slowly is the key. The hips are up. And we're taking a bit of that body weight on the roller. Okay, from there, I'm just going to slowly lower my hips down. And then I'm just going to work a little bit more into the middle of the back. Bring my hands over the front. And then slowly as we go, I'm going to move closer and closer towards my tailbone. I'm just keeping my chest up here at the moment. Okay, so I'm not arching over the back. We'll go for an extra set on here. So the chest is up. Okay, we're not arching at all. We're just slowly moving that foam roller closer and closer towards that lower back. Okay, so we're into the lower back now. I can feel those muscle groups being rolled. Keep the breathing going. You'll notice I'm moving further and further backwards. We can reposition ourselves if we need to. And I'm just going to try and go for some longer strokes now. So I'm going to go all the way, walk, walk, walk. So that's the top of my shoulders. And then now walk, walk, walk. Breathing out. And then walking myself forward. Top of the shoulders. Walk, walk, walk. I'm going to breathe out here, then draw yourself back. Do one more. Nice job. Okay, then come up from there. Okay, it's the end of that little round. Next one that I do, and not everyone does this, so I think it's really important to actually look after your neck muscles as well. So we lie down, we've got our EVA roller just right in the crest of the neck there, and all we're going to do is relax and then rotate our head from side to side on the roller. So you want to feel that your muscles are getting a good level of compression when we're rolling from side to side. Okay, we're really working up in the top of that neck area. which does take a lot of load when we are carrying packs, animals, when we are doing a lot of our training. The neck does take a lot of load bearing, so looking after it with some of our mobility work is really good. And as you go through the set, just try and increase the range of motion that you are getting on that neck. So try and really roll the head across. That's the story. We'll just go for another round on the neck. It's pretty hard to stretch the neck muscles, and they do take a lot of load, so I just think it's worth really investing some time to look after them. Okay, that foam roll has moved away a little bit. I'll just pull it back in. And when we're doing that stretching and that mobility, trying to keep the shoulders or that upper back on the ground. So we're actually keeping hold of the stretch that we're trying to achieve there. Really good, nice, relaxing foam roller session this. So my suggestion is to try and go through this full cycle twice. Use your timer, and it makes sure that you've got an even amount of time on each side, and you're not rushing or having to guess how long you're doing for on each side. Cool, and we can come up from there. Okay, so that's covered off most of the muscle groups that we're predominantly using in our training sessions. Okay, so we've done our calves, so lower calf, upper calf, then we move on to hamstrings, we move on to hip flexors, then we've done the lateral thigh, done a bit of lower back, middle back, upper back, and then we finished off with the neck. It is very hard to foam roll the abdominals, so we leave those ones out. You can also get into your lats as well. Okay, so another area that we can also improve our mobility through, which does have a lot to do with our training volume and carrying, both pushing and pulling, is our muscle group down the side here. So down through here, we've got a muscle called latissimus dorsi, and predominantly it's a pulling muscle. We can get into it. It is quite hard to get into it, but the best way I've found is just through some targeted spot work. So it basically just means that you're getting into a fixed position and you're holding that position for 5 to 10 seconds, and then you're moving it to the next area. So we want to be side on to get into those lats, and you will feel, if you are doing quite a high volume of work, that there will be a tender spot in there. It doesn't look like you're doing much here in terms of the range of motion, but it is all about just trying to find those tender spots and working backwards and forth over them. I haven't set the timer on this one because it's a little bit different, and you just got to play around with finding those tender areas, and even just holding on those tender areas. Breathing out is also very important to help sort of release some of that tension. But as I said, you can just use this hand here on the foam roller, and that's just moving that foam roller backwards and forwards over that latissimus dorsi muscle. And I'm already finding that through here I've got a lot of sore spots. So I'd potentially be doing about 2 minutes on each side. And once again, it's not about the range of motion on this particular movement pattern. It's just about finding those areas and then just working on trying to release them a little bit more. Okay, so we do the same through for the other side as well. So same thing, right? So we're on the side, take your time. Okay, so I can already find that there's one right there. So once again, I don't time the stretch or the mobility work that I do on the lats. I normally do this at the end of the session, just because it's a little bit more targeted. And I do find that with the training volume, these lats do get quite tight. And of course, if your lats are really tight, then that's limiting the amount of overhead mobility you have as well. So it is really important to actually focus on loosening them up and doing some mobility work on them as well. You can stretch them, but yeah, I found that doing the foam roller work is a bit more effective. Yeah, I've got some real tight areas through there. So if your lats are too tight, what can actually happen is that they start to rotate the shoulder more internally. So when your shoulder starts to get more internally rotated, it starts to weaken your rotator cuff muscles. So it's about looking after your shoulder health so that we can continue to keep training and just look after that mobility side of things. Put your time into doing some mobility work each week and it will pay off for you. I guarantee it. It's definitely worth spending a bit of time on these Sundays. Intentional mobility and recovery sessions, so we can rip on into the work next week. Okay, that'll do on that side. Alright, come up from there. Nice one. So hopefully that was helpful. Idea is, as I said, to go through the cycle twice and really just focus on taking your time and getting the movement patterns nice and smooth. And you'll notice from week to week that it will gradually get easier, the pain will subside from week to week. Yeah, it's just something that you can incorporate instead of just doing stretching or mobility drills all the time. You can get some foam roller work done as well and just blend that into your mobility sessions on the Sundays. Cheers.